Okay, let's dive in. We're talking about Kazakhstan today. And the first thing that strikes you is just the size of it. It's enormous, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Nearly 3 million square kilometers. I mean, that's like ninth largest in the world. But it feels, kind of undiscovered for a lot of travelers.
Right. Sort of a hidden giant, full of potential surprises, untouched landscapes, layers of culture.
Exactly. And we're digging into some source material today that's specifically designed to help you plan a trip there, like a travel guide, some booking info.
So our goal here is pretty straightforward. Unpack this info, pull out the key bits, and basically give you a shortcut to understanding why Kazakhstan is being talked about as this compelling place to visit.
And how you might actually go about planning it, experiencing that mix of adventure and maybe serenity it offers.
Yeah, if you're curious about Central Asia or just looking for something genuinely different, this should be really useful.
Let's see what makes it tick, according to these sources.
Well, the guide starts with its location, which is pretty key. Bordered by Russia, China, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan. It's a real crossroads.
It really is, and that geography just explodes into diversity. The guide calls it a land of contrasts, and that doesn't seem like an exaggeration.
No. What kind of contrasts?
Well, you've got towering snow-capped peaks like in the Tian Shan range, and then these huge sweeping deserts, deep canyons, turquoise lakes, just a massive range.
Wow. So real extremes geographically. Does that apply culturally too?
It seems so. The source describes this really rich tapestry. You feel the history of the Silk Road. The nomadic traditions are still present. There's the Soviet legacy, of course, and Islamic heritage too.
So all these layers kind of woven together.
Yeah, creating something pretty unique for visitors.
Mhm.
And it's not all ancient history either.
Right. The guide mentions modern cities too.
Right.
With like contemporary architecture.
Cosmopolitan hubs. So you get this blend of ancient, traditional, and then suddenly quite futuristic elements.
Interesting. And one more thing the guide emphasizes, hospitality.
Yes. It notes that Kazakh people are generally known for being really warm and welcoming to guests, which is always a big plus when you're traveling.
Definitely. Okay, so here's the big question then. With all that incredible diversity, the landscapes, the history, the culture, the modern bits, it sounds amazing, but also maybe a bit daunting. Like, where do you even start planning?
That's a fair point.
Yeah?
The guide actually tackles that by breaking down some top destinations, starting with the big cities.
Okay.
Almaty comes up first, often called the cultural capital. It's the biggest city, used to be the capital, and it's right at the foot of these huge mountains, the Transili-Alatau.
Ah, so nature right on its doorstep. What does the guide highlight in Almaty?
Well, for sporty types, there's the Midday skating rink. Apparently it's high altitude, and the Shymkent ski resort. Seems like a serious winter sports destination.
Okay, skiing. What else?
There's Koktub Hill for views over the city, and the mountains always popular. And culturally, the Zenkov Cathedral.
Oh, I think I've seen pictures. The wooden one, really colorful.
That's the one.
Hmm.
The guide calls it a wooden architectural marvel. And for, soaking up local life, the Green Bazaar.
A market.
Yeah, a bustling market, spices, fruits, local food. Always a good window into the local scene.
Right. Then there's the current capital, Nur-Sultan, formerly Astana. The guide presents this one differently, right? More modern.
Very much so. It's positioned as a symbol of Kazakhstan's modernization drive. The recommended sites really reflect that.
Like what?
You've got the Bayturek Tower, that iconic sort of lollipop-shaped monument with an observation deck. There's the Khan Shatter Entertainment Center.
Is that the giant tent?
Yeah, the huge translucent tent structure. It's got shops, entertainment, even an indoor beach, apparently.
Wow. Okay.
Also the Hazrat Sultan Mosque, which is massive, one of the biggest in Central Asia. And that futuristic sphere building left over from Expo 2017, the Nur-Sultan.
So a totally different vibe from Almaty. Feels almost sci-fi.
It sounds like it. Then the guide takes us south to Shymkent, near the Uzbekistan border.
And this one's older. More historical.
Yeah, it highlights its age and its Silk Road connections. The attractions listed lean more towards nature and history from here.
Such as?
Saram-Ugam National Park is nearby, good for hiking, and Aksuzabagli Nature Reserve.
Oh, wasn't that UNESCO listed for biodiversity?
Exactly. The guide mentions unique wild tulips, birds, and even potentially snow leopards in the wider region, though maybe not guaranteed viewing.
Still, snow leopards. That fits the untouched beauty idea. And history.
For history buffs, it points out that the ancient Silk Road cities of Otrar and Turkestan are accessible from Shymkent, so you can really dive deep into that era there.
Okay, cities covered. But Kazakhstan's huge natural landscapes, What specific wonders does the guide shout about?
It gets pretty enthusiastic about Lake Candy and the Kolsai Lakes. Calls them hidden gems near the Tian Shan Mountains.
Candy, isn't that the one with the trees?
Yeah, the famous sunken forest. An earthquake created a natural dam, flooded a valley, and now these eerie, bare tree trunks stick straight out of this incredibly clear turquoise water. Very photographic.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And Kolsai?
That's a series of 3 lakes, Kolsai Lakes 1, 2, and 3, nestled in pine forests. The guide recommends them for trekking, camping, classic alpine beauty.
Nice. And the guide also mentions a canyon, right? Compared to the Grand Canyon.
Charyn Canyon. Yeah, it draws that comparison probably for the scale, the dramatic formations. It's about 200 kilometers from Almaty.
What's special about it?
These really surreal, eroded rock formations. There's one specific part called the Valley of Castles that gets highlighted. The guide suggests walking down into it to really appreciate the size and the shapes.
Okay, so stunning places to see. What about things to do? Active stuff.
Loads, apparently.
You
Hiking and mountaineering are big, especially around Almaty and in the east.
Makes sense with all those mountains.
And horseback riding is mentioned as a great way to connect with the nomadic heritage, riding out on the steppes.
I can picture that. Anything else?
Well, skiing and snowboarding come up again. Specifically, Shymkent near Almaty is flagged as having world-class slopes. And for real remote experiences, camping and stargazing are suggested. Places like the Mangistau Desert or the Altai Mountains are mentioned as offering incredible night skies, far from city lights.
Feels like true adventure potential there.
Definitely. Which leads back to the cultural side. How does the guide suggest experiencing that heritage more deeply?
It mentions the nomadic roots again, and the yurts.
Yes, the Kazakh yurt, the traditional tent. It's presented as a key symbol, and the guide notes that you can often arrange overnight stays in yurts. That sounds like a pretty authentic experience.
Immersive. And food. Guides always have food tips.
Of course. It lists a few must-tries. Barsaks, they're like little fried dough balls. Beshbarmak, often called the national dish, usually boiled meat with pasta sheets.
Yeah.
And kumis.
Creamies, what's that?
Fermented mare's milk. So, definitely a unique local drink to try if you're adventurous.
Maybe. Okay. Any mention of festivals or local events?
Yeah. It suggests looking out for national holidays. Nowruz, which is the Persian New Year celebration around the spring equinox, is given as an example a time of vibrant public festivities.
Okay, so now I'm definitely intrigued. Mountains, deserts, futuristic cities, ancient sites, yurts, fermented mare's milk. It's a lot.
Yeah.
How does the guide help with the actual planning part? The practical stuff?
It gets into that. Best time to visit, for example. It breaks it down by season.
How so?
Spring, sort of April, May, is good for green landscapes, flowers, hiking at lower altitudes. Summer, June to August, is best for the lakes, camping, high mountain trekking.
Right.
Autumn, September, October, offers nice fall colors in the mountains, good hiking weather. And winter, well, that's prime time for skiing and snow, obviously.
Makes sense. What about visas and money?
Standard advice. Check visa rules for your nationality well beforehand. But it does mention many countries have visa-free access or can get e-visas now, which simplifies things.
For a currency?
The currency is the Kazakhstani tenge, KZT. The guide says ATMs and card payments are common in the big cities, but you'll definitely need cash for more rural areas or smaller towns.
And language. Is English widely spoken?
Kazakh and Russian are the official languages. English is apparently growing in tourist zones, hotels, major cities. But the guide suggests learning a few basic Russian or Kazakh phrases would be very helpful, especially if you venture off the main path.
Always good advice. Safety generally.
The source describes it as generally safe for tourists, low crime rates, but, use common sense travel precautions. And local etiquette is mentioned to dress modestly for religious sites, respect traditions, especially in rural areas.
Standard responsible travel stuff. Okay, finally. Booking it all. Flights, hotels, does the guide offer help there?
It does. It specifically mentions a platform, FlightNHotels.com, as a tool for planning this kind of trip.
Oh, interesting. How does it position that?
It lists the supposed benefits, comparing and booking flights into Almaty, Nur-Sultan, Shymkent, the main gateways, booking hotels, mentioning a wide range and potential discounts.
And car rentals, too.
Yes, car rentals are mentioned as well. The guide basically frames this platform as having worldwide access, being user-friendly, secure for payments. Essentially presenting it as a way to streamline booking everything, flights, hotels, maybe a car, making it seamless and affordable.
So the message is, even for a destination that seems vast and maybe complex to plan for, there are tools available now that make the logistics easier.
Exactly. That seems to be the takeaway, that planning a trip to Kazakhstan, despite its scale and diversity, is presented as quite manageable using resources like the one mentioned.
Right, so pulling everything we've learned from this source material together, it paints this really vivid picture, doesn't it? Kazakhstan is this place where ancient traditions, Silk Road ghosts, nomadic life meet these hyper-modern cities.
All set against this backdrop of just incredibly varied, often quite wild natural beauty, from canyons to mountains to steppe.
The guide really makes a case that there's something there for pretty much everyone, whether you want adventure, culture, city life, or just raw nature.
It definitely does, and hopefully this deep dive gives you, the listener, a solid foundation if you were curious about exploring somewhere truly off the main tourist circuit, but potentially incredibly rewarding.
It really makes you think, though, with that sheer range the guide lays out, sunken forests, futuristic towers, ancient sites, staying in a yurt. What particular part of that unique mix, the ancient, the natural, the modern, what sparks your curiosity most? It begs the question, really, what kind of journey would you design there?